Supervisor Paul Bian and Challenger Janice Rutherford spoke to ROTW News about county budget issues and their impact on the November 2nd election. Mountain residents are concerned about the county's shrinking budget and its impact on government services, including police and fire. How do we maintain these services during tough economic times?
All governments in California face some real tough fiscal decisions. The state of California has been very irresponsible and reckless with their spending, and that's going to lead to challenges for local governments, including the county of San Bernardino. The state may very well require the county to take full responsibility for a lot of the welfare and social service programs, even though the state's only going to give the county about 60 cents on the dollar. So that makes for some tough decisions. It means the people of this county, through their elected officials, have to make clear what their priorities are. In my mind, public safety comes first. That is the first role of government. So we have to make sure that our sheriff's deputies and our firefighters have the resources that they need to answer 911 calls when they go out. I'm also concerned there are some counties in the state of California where the deputies have stopped patrolling because they're only able to do jail coverage. And that's in part because the state's releasing a lot of prisoners and bad guys who, frankly, should be in jail and in prison, but who we're letting go. So we're going to have stepped up needs for public safety at the same time we're losing resources. And that's going to put the squeeze on the county's ability to provide social services and take care of economic development needs. None of these are easy decisions, but I think it's important to get residents' input and to not make these decisions in a vacuum.
You sort of touched on this. The state has sort of helped themselves to local funds, especially money for redevelopment and small business assistance. What can be done to stop the state drain on local finances?
Two things. First of all, tell your legislators, tell your assembly members and your senators that you want local tax revenues to be spent locally. That's where the services that you care about happen. Secondly, you can vote yes on Proposition 22 on the November 2nd ballot. That's a measure that's been placed on the ballot by the League of California Cities and a variety of local governments throughout the state to tell the state no more borrowing, no more stealing, no more rewriting the laws so that you can get away with taking redevelopment money. People want their local tax dollars to pay for police, fire, parks, fixing potholes. You know, more than 80% of the lane miles of roads in the state of California are maintained by local government. So we can't afford to give all that money to the state and for them to redirect it at their own will. Your local tax dollars need to stay local. Tell your legislators, vote yes on Proposition 22.
Well, I mean, the short answer is doing a whole lot more with less money, that is. And actually, one of the things that through this budget cycle, we were able to receive some concessions from our employee groups. But the Sheriff's Association took a different tact, but our ability to work with Sheriff Rod Hoops changed the scheduling. So you're seeing the same number of deputies actually on patrol here in the mountaintop. So even though there has been some budgetary cuts that have taken place, the service level has been maintained. And I think I use that as an example because whether it's at regional parks or libraries or our Public Works Department, all of those are going to have to be, we're going to look to shrink probably management first because we're looking to maintain those boots on the ground so that we don't have that drop off in service. But ultimately, we're victims to what occurs in Sacramento. And I think one of the things that most people don't recognize is that in the county's $4 billion budget, much of what we do is in the arena of social services. So here on the mountaintop, I don't think you're going to see a drop off in what you see in the way from your Sheriff's Department or Crest Forest Fire, but you're going to possibly see some drop off in the ability for our social services to be delivered. Our caseloads are going to go up per social worker, and that's whether it's welfare or getting payments out to mothers with infants or through our WIC program. All these things may suffer a little bit, but ultimately we're going to do our best with the money that is given to the county through the federal government and through the state.
Now, the state has helped itself to some local funds, especially money for redevelopment and small business assistance. What can be done to stop the state's drain on local finances?
Well, fortunately, this November, there's a proposition on the ballot that will give the voters of California the opportunity to stop those raids from Sacramento on redevelopment agency dollars. And I believe right now that is polling that the public is going to say no to Sacramento. These are locally derived property taxes to be reinvested in the community through redevelopment agencies. So I think there's going to be an opportunity this November to actually, whether it's the Board of Supervisors, which we have taken a position to support that proposition, as well as I serve at CSAC, which there was a movement to actually try to defeat the measure. Basically, CSAC, which is this California Counties Association, took a neutral position. So I was in the trenches fighting so that the counties would not support that. Basically, the reasons there is that many of our large counties want to have that flexibility in Sacramento so that the social service programs can continue to be funded at the detriment towards the local residents that want to see those property taxes reinvested in their communities. So San Bernardino County has worked side by side with the League of Cities to help see that proposition is going to pass, and that will be able to protect those revenues, to be able to help make that reinvestment in our communities and to help our businesses.
Tomorrow, Supervisor Paul Bien and candidate Janeth Rutherford discuss unemployment and home ownership issues and their possible impact on the upcoming election. Michael P. Neufeld reporting for ROTW News from Crestline Lake Gregory.